Hey guys, Akio Murasaki here. In one of my previous videos, I did actually promise I would be talking about gacha games, but a different topic came up, so I decided to cover it. We're going to be talking about Reddit and some of the recent drama in the r/art subreddit. Yes, as all of you probably know, Reddit is a truly magical place. When I was younger, which was many years ago, hundreds even, I used to think that Reddit is this one place on earth where communism can actually work. And I really thought so, because you have the communities, you have the subreddits, you have mods who are elected from the communities and who maintain peace and order in these communities. But as we know, and as anyone who has been for much longer on Reddit will definitely notice that just like real-life communism, the Reddit flavor of communism doesn't work either, because very quickly you get mods who are just power hungry and who form a clique and start just banning and eradicating people left and right, as was the case in many communist countries and many communist regimes. So yes, even on Reddit, communism doesn't really work. Sad to say. So if you ever want to try communism, don't try communism. It doesn't actually work. We've tried it many times. We've even tried on Reddit. No, it doesn't work. But back to the main topic. We have Hayden Clay here, who very recently, a very prominent artist. I had a very close look at this 3D digital piece of his. Very well done, I have to say. Incredible lighting, incredible details as well. Of course, this is a render. But the amount of work that went into creating this, I am genuinely impressed. And it so happens that Hayden Clay was incredibly prolific. As you can see from the upvotes, 4.7k upvotes as of taking the screenshot. Before, or rather as the post has been locked, and as Hayden himself has been banned from the subreddit. And why exactly has he been banned? Well, our art has this very strict rule that you're not supposed to, I know it's a weird one, you're not really supposed to advertise your art. So you're only allowed to post your art, but you're not supposed to say where you can get the art, other than obviously the screenshot right here on the sub. But you're not supposed to advertise. And so what happened was that Strawber, which is our Hayden here, he said, or he wrote, "I have a home mini-series called Clear Boundaries with prints available," as in physical prints. Now, I would really not call this advertising. I would maybe, in such a case, maybe I would temporarily lock the post and then give him a warning or a slap on the wrist, and then obviously this post needs to be removed. If the rules are that strict, it needs to be removed. But here's what perspired, okay? He started inquiring are you banning me? Because he was actually banned. Are you banning me for giving more information on my work? And then, no, we're banning you for breaking the rules. Okay? And we can also remove all of your old posts if you'd like. And then he's like, "No, just delete the comment. Your history has been removed. You're welcome." I have to say, this is probably one of the most asinine mods I have seen in my entire life on Reddit. I've seen some very power trippy mods, but this absolutely takes the cake. What are we even doing here? And then it just gets worse, okay? Because the mod starts accusing our Strop here of having major main character energy, even though very clearly the mod himself or herself or themselves is the one who's actually overstepping here. It was a minor violation. It did not warrant a sub ban, maybe just a warning, and the mod is the one who's at fault here. And so the funny thing is, Hayden replies here, says the power hungry mod who deleted all my posts because I asked a question, which is absolutely true. And you've been reported for harassment. Have a wonderful day. And as you can probably imagine, the result of this part of the story was indeed, he actually got, let me just see. Oh yeah, there it is right here. He actually got banned. Yes. He got banned for 3 days on the entirety of Reddit for harassing a mod. That's a very interesting one, isn't it? You are questioning a mod and that is considered harassment. I will talk about harassment a little bit in a moment because there is definitely more to this story. But basically, this whole situation blew up enormously, okay? A lot of people started writing about this on Reddit and also on Twitter, of course. And that exploded to such an extent that... Oh, sorry. We're going to come back to this a little later. It exploded to such an extent that basically the mods folded. They basically posted, "We are out. You win," as if there was anything to be won here, and they all resigned. This is what it says here. Logged post with 11 uncos. And this is the end. This is the end of the sub, so it seems. There was another user here, what I kind of mentioned here, who also tried to inquire, like, what is happening? Why are you banning a person for like a small violation? What is even happening here, right? And so they're trying to be like this dojo native here, native 46. He's trying to be very civil. The person asked the question, and their entire history has been wiped. Like, what are we doing here? Not sure what you mean. They refused to follow the rules and were removed. Okay, but like, I feel like there's room for discussion to be had here. You don't instantly have to go on like a freaking communist totalitarian purge and remove people from the sub in order to convey your point, right? And this is what it seems, this is another mod actually, who refuses to click the link, refuses to engage in the conversation, and then just goes on, you have been muted by the subreddit, and it just basically mutes the guy on this entire sub. So I guess blocking him from posting. But also, what are we even doing here? I find it incredibly fascinating, actually, how this is already like the second mod who absolutely refuse to engage in any sort of conversation. Like, I've seen it being bad on Reddit, but this absolutely takes the cake. And what happens to the sub now? So apparently the mods resign. Okay, so this is what it says here: the mods resign, they're out. And then of course the entire post got hyper downvoted. I think it's already lower than 11k. I wouldn't be surprised if this was not a contender for like the most downvoted thread or downvoted post on the entirety of Reddit right now, easily surpassing one of the very old announcements from EA Games about like in-game purchasable cosmetics in one of the Star Wars games. I think this one's would get even more downvotes by this point. And what is quite interesting here, and this is worth pointing out, according to at least 2 other mods, which I'm guessing maybe were less harassing, less weird, other than the mods who did this and also caused huge drama a year ago on the same subreddit. Apparently that was literally the same person who was just causing drama on the entire sub, banned all the other mods and locked the sub himself. So one person throwing a temper tantrum in the end causes basically the entire sub to go into lockdown. And here is what happens next. If you leave the entire sub to be unmoderated, it basically becomes unusable. You cannot post in it anymore. Everything's completely locked down. And as is also being pointed out here by Tengai, another user on Twitter, not only this, but even though this is a massive sub, okay, our art is absolutely massive. Not only that, but if the sub remains unmoderated, it's going to get removed, because unmoderated subs are of course not allowed, especially the big whatever over, I can't remember what it was, like 1 million subscribers or something, but any of the big subs basically cannot exist unmoderated. So if the sub is not going to be picked up by someone, one of the admins, it's just going to be completely removed. And the other thing I kind of wanted to talk about taking this opportunity is the whole harassment thing. So here we have a post, for instance, from from Nelku that got permabanned also for posting a time-lapse of their painting, probably by the same mod. But also something from GigaChat Brick, who mentions like the whole banning situation. For instance, back in 2013-2014, when I regrettably identified as center-left, been there, done that, I know the mistake. I was on some very milquetoast anti-SJW and Gamergate subreddits. Also, massive mistake. If you are joining any of these subs, you are instantly getting into the crosshairs of like back then at least Reddit admins and kind of like cross sub moderation, which by the way should really not be the case. Subs should be moderated separately, but yeah, that has been the case back then. You really could get banned like almost instantly off a sub for being a member in a different sub. Yes, that is absolutely true. Then I got banned site-wide, so the entirety of Reddit, for targeted harassment. And when I asked the Reddit mods for proof of what I've actually done wrong, they stopped responding to me altogether. I think there might be a little bit, in terms of tone, more to the story. But I think there's a good point to be made that it's very easy to be labeled, to be flagged for targeted harassment. And there's been actually way more cases like this on Reddit recently, where people were simply questioning the decisions of moderation and were getting instantly flagged, even by calling the mod a loser, for instance, being flagged for targeted harassment. And then, you know, the first ban is like 3 days. One of the next bans might be a permaban. So you're basically just getting cut off from the entirety of Reddit for simply arguing with a moderator. I feel like this is kind of harsh now. And also, yeah, obviously here the person says Reddit Jennings are the lowest tier of scum on the internet and they do it all for free. And this is also very true. And a lot of them, even though they should represent the community, they really don't. They're the power-hungry oligarchs who emerge right after a communist coup. You guys can read up more in history about this. That almost always happens, that the moment these oligarchs come to power, they're always greedy, they're always power hungry, and the first thing they do is that they start out of fear, remove any sort of opposition. And here, for instance, what is interesting, if you get flagged for targeted harassment, you not only get kicked off a specific sub, you can easily get kicked off the entirety of Reddit, which means you need to go someplace else to vent your frustration or even have civilized discussions with people. And basically my take home from this is that if moderation on Reddit is volunteer based and it's actually being done by people, what is stopping Reddit from removing all basic moderation and just adding a chatbot and they just doing everything via AI? Like, what is really stopping Reddit from cleaning up this entire mess? Having a proper AI base, like in LLM, AI language model based chat, that would basically redirect them people to other moderation teams or to side tickets and stuff. That would have been so much easier for the whole process. And also, any of the supposed targeted harassment claims would be more reasonable, because if obviously someone starts calling the mods names for no reason, then yeah, obviously they might get banned. But otherwise, for just disagreeing, getting flagged for targeted harassment, this is clearly a human error and a very easy one to solve by simply removing all moderation and then putting AI in place. But I don't know what you guys think. I hope you guys found it at least a little bit funny. Let me know actually what is the current state of the our subreddit right now. And I see you guys in the next one. Matane!